camera is going to show you what's going on in the other room in case the wall is in the way. Yes? Yes. And then kirtan can happen. Somebody knows kirtan. So you all figure that one out. And I'll go over here and we'll do part 1 and then we'll come back and do part 2.
Shadadini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadini Esha Shunyavani Ashadani Maya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadaita Gadadara Sivasari Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadaita Gadadara Sivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Jaya Shri Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadaita Radharara Shiva Hari Ora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Jai Gauranitam, 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 Jai 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 Gauranitam, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Jai Gauranitam, Jai Jai Gauranitam, Jai Jai Gauranitam. Oh, Jai Jai Gauranitam, Jai Jai Gauranitam, Jai Jai. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. One more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everything good? What do you want? You want the light? Is that good? You want the other one too? There are some people that have not been with us for the first 5 parts of a 6-part series. And not only that, but you're kind of new to, not to the Hare Krishna mantra, but new to the topic that we're going to be discussing this evening, part 6. So I'll do a little background for part 1 through 5. And then we're going to go in the fast lane. Those of you that are new, we did this for the first evening. There were some people that were just like, they had never been with devotees before. There's like super new. You're in that category? You've been with devotees ever before? A little bit. Okay, great. And anyone else? Like super new? 0. Huh? Only kidding. What? Super new. Okay. One more. Okay. Hi, Krishna. Do you know who's Krishna? Your eyes are rolling. A little bit. Little bit, right? Who is Krishna? Little bit. Yeah, God. But Krishna is the speaker of Bhagavad Gita? Is that Bhagavad Gita bell ring? Yes. These two in the front. How about you? No. Bhagavad Gita. Okay. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is revealing about himself. I am this. One of the things Krishna says is he's the source of everything. I mean, it's in Sanskrit, but it's also translated into a number of languages. Those of you that have been around a while, you can say the verse with me. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. In case you don't know Sanskrit, here's the meaning. Aham is first person singular, I am sarvasya prabhava. He's the prabhava, the source of emanation of everything, matter and spirit. Aham sarvasya prabhava. I'm the source of everything. Then he says in reverse, everything comes from me. Matak sarvam pravartate. Then the next line, iti matva, means thus knowing. Iti matva bhajantema. What do you do when you know what the source of everything is? You go, they engage in my service. Buddha, they get some spiritual intelligence. Buddha bhava samanvita. So that's Krishna's revealing that he's the source of everything. And, and in not all details, because everything is too much for a book, but it's the principle. He's the source of everything. And he's disclosing other things about himself. One of the things he's disclosing about himself is the yoga systems. Now, most people today, all over the world, because I travel a little bit, and all over the world, when people think of yoga, think of one thing. Yoga asanas. That's what yoga is, right? You go to a yoga class to learn yoga asanas. The sitting postures, and sometimes another one is added, that's pranayama, breathing. Sorry, that's two parts of an eightfold yoga system. That's one of the yoga system, one of the rungs on the yoga ladder. So Krishna is describing the yoga system. This karma yoga, you all know the word karma. It's like vernacular in America now. Karma means action, and then for every action, there's a reaction or something that is produced from that action. Karma yoga is to work or do karma in such a manner that you're detached from the fruits of your work, but instead you become attached to the source of everything. You connect with that which is the source of everything. So it's important to know what the source of everything is. It is also important to know how to become detached from what keeps us from the source of everything. That's what yoga is, to connect with the source of everything. That's the meaning of yoga. Then there's another system of yoga. I'm not going to go through it too much because of time. There's a system of yoga called yoga of knowledge. So yoga of work, yoga of knowledge, Gyan yoga. And then meditation yoga, Dhyan yoga, chapter 6, Bhagavad Gita. And there's the top rung of the yoga ladder. I'm simplifying, but there's the top rung of the yoga ladder where all of the other yogas are leading to the top rung to get, because that's what you use a ladder for, to get somewhere. And the top rung of the yoga ladder is bhakti. And at the end, fast forward, to the end of Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna says is there's one principle that's all other principles are subordinate to this one principle. All the other things that I've taught and all the other things that are in the Vedas that teach how to elevate your consciousness and how to not degrade your consciousness, they're all subordinate to one thing. What's that one thing? Love. Well, okay, so now where there's love, what does it look like? Love is a feeling, But when you express it, what does it look like? So what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, and the conclusion is taking shelter of him in love, because he's the source. So that the topmost of all yoga systems is taking shelter of him in love and loving service. When you love someone, you serve that someone, and that's everything. That's absolute love, is absolute service to the absolute source of everything. That's the highest teaching. And everything else is subordinate to that one thing. So that's Bhagavad Gita in 3 minutes. And then that Krishna's appearance, so there's a little about who is Krishna, and his purpose of appearance was to disclose himself, and the purpose of life is come to that stage of consciousness. That's human life. Elevation of consciousness to that stage of sarvadharmam parijajya. So they're coming to the stage of loving service and shelter in the Supreme, who gives his shelter. That's the other half of that verse. Krishna's pastimes concluded. Now, for those of you that are a little bit, you like the morning class at the temple, it's discussing that pastime of Krishna where he's arranging for his departure. He entered this world in such, and he's going to leave the world such and such. It's described in the coming verses in the morning Bhagavatam class. So Krishna departed. Mission accomplished. However, after Krishna departs, the age of mankind changes, and it becomes the next age, where it's dark. And in this dark age of Kali, people can't see. They don't know how to do what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. They think this or that or the other thing, but they really don't know because it's dark in the age of Kali. So Krishna, this is keeping it very simple. Krishna pulled his chin and said, you know what? In this dark age of Kali, people aren't going to know how to do that, which I came into this world to explain, how to do the topmost yoga. So I think I'm going to have to help them understand how to. And I could send someone, or I could empower someone that's already there. But the best of all is I could come myself. So he came himself. Krishna came again. And the very next set of ages as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's a little sketch of who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's Krishna himself. Krishna himself, but appearing as a devotee of Krishna himself. So he can teach people how to do Bhagavad Gita, what Bhagavad Gita teaches. And in order to do what Krishna wanted people to do and to understand, he showed by his example, and he gave teachings, but most unusually, he didn't write things. Because when messiahs or, elevated personalities come, generally, they write something. These are my teachings. So Lord Chaitanya didn't give teachings in a written form. He instead instructed others and empowered others to understand everything that he was saying, and empowered them to write what his teachings were. And so they did. And what we've been doing over the past several days is discussing 6 of the many, but we would say most prominent persons who were empowered to do that service. And here's one of them. This evening is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. He's number 6. The first 5 that we discussed, they wrote books, and Raghunath Bhatta, to my knowledge, didn't write books. He did what you see him doing. he had a number of gifts, but one of those gifts was he very, very much, it was an instruction that was given to him by Lord Chaitanya, the person who I just described, Krishna himself, in the mood of his own devotee, to teach devotion to Krishna. He's Krishna himself. He instructed Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, we'll hear the story of his life shortly, but to read Srimad Bhagavatam and assist the two elder amongst the six Goswamis, so that we discussed them, first, Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami by name. So don't get confused by names, just pick up on the principle of what's going on here. He invested power in his devotees, these six, or five of the six, to understand and to write all the months-long worth of teachings that he gave them, and sent them to a place in India where Krishna appeared called Vrindavan. Ring any bells? Yeah? Fantastic. Okay, just checking. So they lived in Vrindavan. They didn't grow up in Vrindavan. That wasn't their hometown. But it's a holy place because it's a place where Krishna performed his childhood pastimes. And it's very sacred. So they went to that sacred place and became purified and gave pure teachings that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given them. And the instruction that was given to Raghunath Bhatta when he was a young man was to read Srimad Bhagavatam, recite Srimad Bhagavatam, and assist Rupa and Sanatan. Now, in the painting, you see two birds seated on a branch of a tree. And those two birds, you may not recognize what kind of birds they are, but they're cuckoo birds. There's something about cuckoo birds that kokila, they're called in Sanskrit or the local language, they make a very sweet sound. I can't imitate their sweet. And they have when one sings, then the others sing, and then they have a whole chorus, and then it's quiet for a bit, and then another sings, and the others sing, and it's very pleasing because they don't always have the same note. They have different vocal cords or something, and so it's just a very sweet sound. It's known poetically as the sweet sound of the cuckoos. So normally people listen to the sweet sound of the cuckoos, but here's two cuckoos listening to the sweet sound of Raghunath Bhatta because his singing was so sweet, they wanted to hear his singing. And when he recited Srimad Bhagavatam, he was so into it, he was so expert, that every verse he would sing in 4 different melodies. He would sing. We recite. He would sing in 4 different melodies. And there's rules of melody and meter and all that. And he knew it all because it was his thing. He was absorbed. And anyone who heard him became charmed and enchanted and thrilled, just even if you didn't understand Sanskrit. But these who were his associates, they understood his words. And the sound was so sweet, what to speak of the meaning. That's the principal gift that Krishna had given him, which he used in serving and pleasing the devotees. So we're going to hear some about his life. 6 Goswamis, number 6, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Now for our newer people, we're going to start going into unusual territory. Just as when Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna has his place in the spiritual world, but Krishna doesn't come alone, he comes with his associates. Like, here's the example Prabhupada would give. If someone says, the king is coming, the king is coming, it's not that the king is walking along the road alone. the king comes with a whole entourage of this and of that and the other thing and the other thing and the other thing. The king is coming. So when Krishna came, he came with his associates. And when Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya, he came with his associates. So each of the associates of Krishna appeared as associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And a number of the Goswamis were associates of Radha, because, no, we introduced another name. Radharani? 0, right? No, nothing. Okay. Back to the Krishna is the source of everything. And everything means everything. Matter and spirit. Everything. And in the spiritual realm, there's an aspect of Krishna in the spiritual realm that's a potency, Shakti, personified by, with, or in the relationship with Krishna enjoys. And that's who Radharani is. Radharani is the personification, his eternal companion, who is the pleasure potency of he who is the source of everything. So in our temples, often you'll see deities of Krishna, and by Krishna's side over here is Radha. Radha Krishna. Because Krishna is not alone, Krishna is with Radha. And to arrange for Krishna's pleasure, Radha expands herself. And she has principal expansions and expansions of those expansions, and there's mega expansions because she's the pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord that has no limit. It's mind expanding, but just follow the principle besides all the names. So there's, amongst those who are expansions of Radha, female companions are called gopis. Krishna's friends are called gopa, and the girls are called gopis. Cowherd boys and cowherd girls. Go means cow. Moo, that, So, and their occupation, they came from village life, and their occupation was caring for cows. So Krishna's name is Gopal. He gives protection. Pala means protection or care or affection to cows. And his friends are Gopas. He's Gopal, they're Gopas, and the girls are Gopis. So Radha expands her dear friends, and they're really amazing personalities, and they have their expansions called manjaris. They're assistants. So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was one of those manjaris. Raga Manjari. Now, with each of the other personalities that we spoke about so far, there's some detailed information. I couldn't find any about Raga Manjari, besides your newer people wouldn't understand it anyways. I mean, it's just like, what's going on here? So I couldn't find, for those of you that have been around the Hare Krishna movement for a while, I couldn't find any explanation of Raga Manjari. But I could find a lot of information about Raghunath Bhatta. Now, Bhatta is a term or a title often that means a learned person. Like we might say PhD or Dr. so-and-so because he has a degree in something, philosophy or medicine or something. So that's an MD. So it's a title, Bhatta. Raghunath Bhatta. And he was a son of Tapan Mishra, a Brahmana. And his father was very learned, and he studied scriptures very carefully. And in the course of his studying scriptures very carefully, he couldn't in introspecting, he couldn't honestly say, I understand what's the goal of life. Pretty basic, but the Vedas are disclosing it, and he couldn't discern or ascertain the goal of life, the object of life, and how to attain it. And, he was a learned person, and he was striving, and he was in some anxiety. And I can't get it. It's elusive. So because he was so sincere, he had a dream. In a dream, one Brahmana, which also means that, like he was, a very elevated, learned spiritual personality. In his dream, he said, you will one day meet Nimai Pandit. Nimai Pandit is who Lord Chaitanya was before he became a renunciate or a sannyasi or a monk in English language. He's still Chaitanya. Nimai, when he was in his youth, he was a learned person. He taught Sanskrit, grammar, and he was known as Nimai Pandit. So in his dream, Brahmana said, one day you're going to meet Nimai Pandit. And in this dream, he received this understanding that the Harinam Diksha and everything that you need will come to you. He received instructions in chanting. Chaitanya, later, Nimai Pandit, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to his home and instructed him. So, after 4 years, Raghunath, his son, was born. And he was living in Varanasi. Varanasi is a nice place. And after Raghunath Das was born, 8 years old, one day, his father, Tapan Mishra, was bathing at a certain bathing place along the Ganges, and he heard a big kirtan. Big kirtan. Because he lived there his life, and he heard a big kirtan. What's this big kirtan? He followed the sound, and there he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, according to his biography. And with Lord Chaitanya, there was a lot of followers, and they were having big kirtan underneath a big tree, a particular type of tree called the banyan tree. And later it got the name Chaitanya Vat. Vat means tree. And near the place where he was, there was a temple. There's a temple deity of Madhava. Madhava is one of the names of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna, in the mood of a devotee of Krishna, began worshipping, when he visited this place, Bindu Madhava. Krishna worshipping Krishna. Krishna in the mood of a devotee worshipping Krishna and chanting Krishna's name. And for 4 days, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at the home of Tapan Mishra. Tapan Mishra invited this wonderful sannyasi to stay with him on his way to Vrindavan. So I'm going to just skip a little bit. Here's a map of India. My hand is a map of India. On the eastern side of India, along the sea, is where Lord Chaitanya was residing, Jagannath Puri. And at a certain point in time, living in Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu desired to go to Vrindavan. And Vrindavan is way over here. Way north, west, long journey. And in between, somewhere along the way, was Varanasi, the place where Tapan Mishra lived. So Lord Chaitanya passed through that place, Varanasi, along the bank of the Ganges, and he stayed at Tapan Mishra's home. And while he stayed at Tapan Mishra's home, the little boy, just 8 years old at that time, had the chance to serve. A little 8-year-old boy serving this sannyasi, this monk, along with his associates. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left for Vrindavan. He stayed in Vrindavan for some time, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned back to Puri, back to the east coast along the sea. And he stayed in Varanasi again, and this time he stayed at the home of Chandrasekhar Vaidya, or Chandrasekhar Acharya, for 2 months. Before it was 4 days, now it's 2 months, and during those 2 months, he gave instructions to another one of the Goswamis, another one of these 6. We heard about him the first evening we were together, Sanatana Goswami by name. And while in this place, Varanasi, some other things happened. Some of you have been around a while, so I can say what those of you that have been around a while know. There was a very prominent, celebrated, impersonalist sannyasi named Prakashananda Saraswati. He was such a prominent person. He had thousands of sannyas followers. He was a big guy, with many other big guys following him. He was a really big guy. And Prakashananda Saraswati and his followers started making some gossip. I mean, sometimes even sannyasis do stuff like that. And they were gossiping, what kind of sannyasi is this fellow? He's singing and dancing and carrying on with worldly people, and sannyasis aren't supposed to do that stuff. They're supposed to be studying Vedanta and being very strict and controlling themselves. And here's this fellow singing, dancing. So Chandrasekhar and Tapar Mishra, because they were dear friends, they were pained to hear this kind of talk. So they mentioned it, reluctantly, but they mentioned it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They're saying these things, and we don't like it. Is there something you can do about it? So Lord Chaitanya did something about it, but he didn't challenge them. Rather, an arrangement was made that these thousands or so sannyasis, would invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come have conversation with them. And normally he'd not have an interest, but he came. And a whole bunch of things happened. But in the course of those whole bunch of things happened, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, demonstrated that he fully understood Vedanta Sutra, but he was not interested in the knowledge of Vedanta Sutra. He was interested in the life of Vedanta Sutra, which is glorification of the holy names of the Lord. I'm making it very simple because of our newer people here. Many of you have been around it. There's lots more details. But Prakashananda Saraswati became amazed. Lord Chaitanya showed an effulgence, like, because these sannyasis, Mayavadi sannyasis, impersonalist sannyasis, they're interested in the effulgence of the source of everything. So he showed them the effulgence being the source of everything, like a flash. The whole place got lit up like the sun coming from him. And then he withdrew it. And they were like, whoa. And then he explained Vedanta Sutra in a way that they could understand, that they didn't understand it. And then he explained it very simply. And he explained why he was chanting. And they became very moved. Now back to the young boy. Remember, he's just 8 years old or so. For 2 months, he was allowed to do service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi, staying in Chandrasekhar Swami's home, Chandrasekhar Vaidya's home. So he did little simple things little boys can do. He would sometimes massage his legs, wash his dishes. And although he stayed at Chandrasekhar's home, he had his meals with the Brahmana, Tapad Mishra. So the little boy was serving his meals and getting his association for 2 months. And after 2 months, it was time to go back to Puri. And when it was time to go back to Puri, Raghunath Das cried, begged, don't go, or take me with you, crying and crying and crying. And so Lord Chaitanya, as sannyasi, took this little boy on his lap and reassured him again and again, stay with your father and mother here, and after some time, you can come to Puri and see me. How old are you? You're how many? 9. So you're 1 year older than Raghunath. And he was crying and crying and crying. He wanted to go with Lord Chaitanya. He wanted to go with Lord Chaitanya. He's become transcendentally attached. Now, it's not just, let's step back for a moment. His spiritual identity, let's do this. According to Bhagavad Gita, there's a body and there's a soul that animates the body. And it's the soul who is the entity who we really are, not the body. The very important fundamental teaching of Bhagavad Gita. We're not the body, we're spirit soul. And further, all spirit souls have an eternal relationship with the source of everything, Krishna. And in their relationship with the source of everything, Krishna, they have a spiritual form, just like Krishna has a spiritual form. Souls have spiritual. Have you ever wondered what your spiritual form is? Spiritual form now, not the 9-year-old boy form. You haven't thought about it much. Okay, I can tell. But there is, and Raghunath Bhatta knew, because he's an eternal associate of Krishna, that he has a spiritual form as a Manjari, an expansion of one of Radharani's assistants to give pleasure to Krishna. That's who he is, aside from the body. So after some time, you can come see me when it's time. So he stayed in Varanasi for 20 years, plus 8 makes 28. And during that time, he became a very renowned scholar. Studied and studied and studied, because he's, an extraordinary personality, an exceptional personality. He wasn't just smart. He's a spiritual identity person, and he's studying the scriptures and realizing things that most of us don't get because we're not so spiritually elevated. But he was. And he had Lord Chaitanya's association for 2 months, plus 4 days. So while this is going on, there's a nice parallel situation. So let's go back to our map of India. Here's India. Here's the east coast, where Puri is. Here's up here, where Vrindavan is. And way over there is a place where another one of Lord Chaitanya's associates lived, and that's Advaita Acharya. He's got a nice beard, a very elder. And Jagatananda Pandit was sent by Lord Chaitanya to go take prasadam from the Jagannath temple to his mother, Mother Sachi. Because he was a sannyasi, he couldn't just go hang out with mom. He was going to, but his affection for his mother, so he sent Mahaprasadam with a message to his mother and so forth and so on, with a nice devotee named Jagatananda Pandit. Then Jagatananda Pandit stayed there, told stories about Lord Chaitanya, what's he doing, his exchanges with others, and, a little bit like what we're doing, but about Raghunath Bhatta's life. But they had, fond affection for Lord Chaitanya. And after some time, it was time for him to return from the place where he was visiting, to go back. And Advaita Acharya sent a message for Lord Chaitanya. I like it, so here it is. Please inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is acting like a madman, that everyone here has become mad like him. Inform him also that in the marketplace, rice is no longer in demand, meaning people don't want material things anymore. Further, tell him that those now mad in ecstatic love are no longer interested in the material world. Also tell Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one who has become a madman in ecstatic love has spoken these words: I have become like him. So he sent that message with Jagadananda Pandit. The parents of Tapan Mishra had become a little old. He gave permission for his son, Raghunath Bhatta, to go to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the place where Mahaprabhu stayed. Not very fancy. It's pretty small. It's called Gambhira. And when he came, Raghunath Bhatta, who had totally attached to Lord Chaitanya, came. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu played as if he was aloof. He saw Raghunath Bhatta, and he said, "Who are you?" Because it had been 20 years, but he knew. He just was saying like that. And he said, "I'm Raghunath." Mahaprabhu said, "Who's Raghunath?" He said, "Your one and only servant, Raghunath." And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Yes, the son of Tapan Mishra." And he embraced him. And they were in ecstasy, being together. So Raghunath Das, the explanation was Lord Chaitanya was testing him. I mean, not like he didn't know when he had got an F or an A or something, but he was just examining his mood of love. And he exhibited his mood of love. He wasn't intimidated by, or, "Hey, wait a minute, I did all this nice service, you don't remember me, what's going on?" It was none of that selfishness, it was his dedication in loving service. Remember? Loving service. That's the top rung of the yoga ladder. So the bell rang. He was at that top rung of the yoga ladder, loving service to Lord Chaitanya. He's now 8 plus 20. He's 28. He stayed for 8 months during this period of time that Lord Chaitanya externally was a madman, meaning he was so absorbed in Krishna bhakti that he was aloof from worldliness, and sometimes would enter into deep states of devotion to Krishna, where it's unrecognizable. Lord Chaitanya gave him a gift when it was time for him to go after 8 months. The gift was his own neck beads. You've seen devotees wear these neck beads? And Lord Chaitanya took his neck beads off and gave them to Raghunath. Wow. Wow. And he embraced him. And he gave him a lot of encouragement. Don't worry. Now you will see how your words will be emboldened. That is, your words, that is, because he had learned the Bhagavatam and the scriptures, and now he wanted him to recite them and speak them to others, and he empowered that those words that you speak will move hearts. He instructed him, he's now 28, remain a young brahmachari, or like a celibate person for the rest of your life. He went back to his parents' home. He studied Srimad Bhagavatam even more intensely, and after those 4 years, he went back to Puri and stayed another 8 months with Lord Chaitanya. And it's said, in addition to being really, really, really superlatively good at reciting, and Lord Chaitanya empowered him to move hearts speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, he was an excellent cook. So every day he cooked. Now he's 32. He cooked every day for Lord Chaitanya. Now, Lord Chaitanya wasn't a big eater, but his cooking was out of this world. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the foods that he ate, and then he, Raghunath, took the remnants of Lord Chaitanya's prasadam every day for 8 months. And the final pastimes, he was there when Lord Chaitanya was performing his final pastimes, which are it's a whole other topic. And then it was time for him to go, so Lord Chaitanya gave him another gift, which he maintained for the rest of his life, a 14-foot long Tulsi garland. 14-foot long Tulsi garland. You know what Tulsi is? Yes? No idea, right? No. Tulsi is a plant that has leaves that Krishna likes very much. So it's part of the worship of Krishna, is to offer your food, that's like she's doing, and on top of the food is a Tulsi leaf, because it's a plant, and sometimes they become kind of a big plant. So if they took Tulsi leaves and strung a 14-foot garland of Tulsi leaves and gave it to Raghunath. And some betel nut offered to Jagannath, and he didn't have him go back home, he had him go to Vrindavan. Because we spoke about Vrindavan in the beginning, the place where Krishna performed his childhood pastimes. So he went there, and the instruction, including constantly recite Srimad Bhagavatam, the rest of your time chant the holy name, and Krishna will very soon bestow his mercy upon you. So just his saying that means, voila, it's going to happen. And it happened. So before he went from Puri, Raghunath, requested the personal assistant of Lord Chaitanya named Swarup Damodar, please describe to me in detail the path that Lord Chaitanya followed when he traveled from Puri to Vrindavan. I want to follow. And he followed the path in detail. He made a map, and in all the places he is associated with the persons who Lord Chaitanya stayed with on his way, and he heard the pastimes. So he's now packed up with Lord Chaitanya's pastimes of his travels to Vrindavan, as he's traveling to Vrindavan. When he reached Vrindavan, he was received very, very affectionately by these two, the first two that we spoke about of the six, Rupa and Sanatan. For the remainder of his life, he engaged in singing in 4 different melodies the Srimad Bhagavatam daily, and cuckoo birds and many devotees and Rupa and Sanatan would come and hear from him just reciting Srimad Bhagavatam so beautifully, and otherwise chanting the holy name. It's described that when he would be singing in the presence of Rupa and Sanatan, he sometimes lost it. He became so absorbed just in the message, and not just the melodies, the musicality of it, but the message itself, and his profound attachment for Krishna. His profound attachment for Krishna was stimulated by Srimad Bhagavatam recitation, and he just couldn't speak anymore. Tears, voice faltering, trembling, he couldn't continue. And they had deep affection and love. Amongst the six Goswamis, he's one of the six. He's one of the other five. He had no deity. Srimad Bhagavatam was his deity. I'm looking around the room. Adi Karcha, did you have the experience of distributing books ad infinitum during Prabhupada's time? Yeah, like absorbed. That's like the service you did day and night. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tell a little Prabhupada story about books being our deity. In the very beginning of the Hare Krishna movement, there were no deities because we didn't know anything about taking care of deities. So what was done for temples is there was a painting, there was a group of artists that were assigned to make Panchatattva paintings. Panchatattva. Lord Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivasadi, Gaur Bhaktivinoda. You know that one? No idea. Okay. Lord Chaitanya and his associates in a painting called the Panchatattva, Pancha is five. Five truths representing expansions of and features of Lord Chaitanya. They made paintings and then a photograph of Prabhupada, and that was called Guru, that's Prabhupada, and Gauranga, that's Lord Chaitanya. Guru Gauranga altars. That was it. No deities. And in the course of time, slowly, cautiously, deity worship was introduced, and the deity replaced the Panchatattva painting, and then there's still the photograph of Prabhupada. So as deity worship was proliferating, we were also, many of us, I was one, engaged 24/7 in distributing books with my life. Nothing else but day and night. I mean, we took rest, but day and night. So one of the ways was getting in a van and packing the van so it waddled right up to the ceiling with books. And that's our life. And then, one of the van book distribution persons wrote to Prabhupada and said, in our van parties, should we have deities? Good question. And Prabhupada's answer was, no need. The Bhagavatams is your deity. The books are your deity. So it was a little odd because when we got, they would send an air container by air freight, and we'd put the books in the van, and then to save money, we slept in the van, which means we slept on the books. And I felt strange, how you can sleep on your deity. But, we were frugal, and that's what we were doing, young men living that way. The books were our deities. And so the Bhagavatam was his deity, Raghunath Bhatta. And he loved the subject matter, and he loved singing it, he loved having others hear it. And naturally, Rupa and Sanatan held him very dear to them. And of course, they were very dear to him. We heard this already. He had a singing voice, was like a cuckoo bird. Very, 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 very sweet. Another characteristic of him was his humility and meekness. There's many examples, but rather than the many examples, because of time, I've just decided just to leave it. Very meek and humble. And that's a natural sign. Amanitvam adambitvam from Bhagavad Gita. And the first two items of knowledge from Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 is these two. He is the personification. So he was certainly a fit person not only to recite Bhagavatam, but to understand it. In course of time, persons became very attracted to him. One of those persons that became attracted to him was Man Singh, Maharaj Man Singh. Maharaj Man Singh was the chief minister of the ruling king at the time, and he became a disciple of Raghunath Bhatta, and he wanted to make a gift, generous gift to Raghunath Bhatta. So Raghunath Bhatta said, yes, you can build a temple for Rupa Goswami's deity. Majestic temple, 7-story temple. They didn't have, how'd they get the stones up there 7 stories? Didn't have the kind of equipment. Anyway, how they did it. And his disciple built the temple for Rupa Goswami's deity. He was very strict about what he would hear from others. He was very strict about what he would hear from others. He would never hear criticism of any Vaishnava. And he personally would also not speak or of anyone's misbehavior. He wouldn't talk or hear anyone else's talk. This is describing his character. He knew that everyone is engaged in Krishna's service, and he didn't know anything else. He didn't want to understand anything else. He just didn't engage himself in worldly matters. He was very renounced. There's a celebrated Vaishnava poet that described him in this way. All glories to Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, absorbed in the pastimes and qualities of Radha and Krishna. He could not understand whether it was day or night. It is not possible to compare him to anyone. These 2 Goswamis, Rupa and Sanatan, along with all other Vaishnavas, assembled in great joy at the banks of the Jamuna and heard the nectar-like pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam regularly from the mouth of Raghunath Bhatta. This is part of the writing of the same Radha Vallabha. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was the pinnacle of renunciation, and at the same time was possessed of the choicest love for Krishna. His voice was nectar personified. Hearing nectarine pastime from his mouth, even the birds and animals of Vrindavan displayed symptoms of ecstasy, and stones would melt. No, maybe that's a poetic expression, and maybe stones would melt. Here's a little map that shows where there was a place nearby where he lived, the Bhatta Ji temple. He didn't have deities, but that's a temple near where he stayed. And for you, those of you who like to know where you are when you're in Vrindavan, Banki Bihari temple, which is kind of like a landmark for everybody, is down at the bottom. Whoops. Here's the copy, or a reproduced copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Raghunath Bhatta. They keep it in a glass case, well preserved. Here's one of the pages. They took it out of the case just for us to make the photograph.
Every page looks like that.
Apparently. And from this is what he recited, because that was his book. He didn't have, a BBT publication. I mean, I don't read Sanskrit. Do you read Sanskrit? A little bit. I can't say exactly Pushkar what transpired. To just, this is what they have in a glass box, and they say this is a reproduced copy of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Raghunath Bhatta to take with him back to Vrindavan from Puri. A lot of pages. Yeah. He must have had a bullock cart to carry that thing. Yeah, very serious.
I mean, just painted order like that. There's like, say, Force Focus, then you've got like 5,000 pages. Anyway,
Yeah, it says put it in a bullock cart.
just immediately
Did the math, yeah. Yeah. Well, besides a lot of volume, I mean, just to carry all that stuff. It's big. No, there's the glass case.
person behind it. There's a foot. There's a foot. There's a
See the person's foot?
There's a foot. Okay, so it's not that huge, but
Oh, it's huge. Come on. Okay, here's his sandals. They preserved them and put sandalwood on the sandals and paint some kind of goopy brown paint over his sandals. Where? Right here. Teen Goswami Samadhi. Now, this Teen Goswami Samadhi is at, as far as I can recall, Radhakund. This is the Pushpa Samadhi of Raghunath Bhatta on the left. Here's the close-up of the one that's on the left. But the one that's on the left is Raghunath Bhatta, and Krishnadas Kaviraj is in the middle, and Raghunath Das Goswami, whose painting is in the lower right. So in the upper right, that's Krishnadas Kaviraj writing, and over on the left, it's Raghunath Bhatta speaking or singing, and over on the right is Raghunath Das Goswami absorbed in glorifying Srimati Radharani. So here's his Pushpa Samadhi. So it gives you the years of his life. He lived almost 87 years. Long life. And here's a nice painting of the Six Goswamis. Nice painting. You know who the artist is? You painted this one too? Acharya. It's well done. This name is down at the bottom right. There it is. Okay. So there's the Six Goswamis for those of you that are newer. And finally, there's a nice song by Narottam Das Thakur where names of the Goswamis are included in this song. So it's not the whole song, it's parts of the song. And Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. All glories to these Goswamis by name. H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Vadan. I offer my obeisances to the feet of these Six Goswamis. Bowing to them destroys all obstacles to devotional service and fulfills all spiritual desires. So this is a song that devotees like to sing, ISKCON devotees like to sing, and Gaudiya, the followers of Lord Chaitanya, like to sing. It's Narottam Das Thakur was a generation following the Six Goswamis. He studied under one of the Six Goswamis. He studied under Jiva Goswami, but he knew them personally, and he's composed a song about them. Ichai Gosai Yarmui Tar Das. I am the servant of that person who is a servant of these Six Goswamis. The dust of their lotus feet is my 5 kinds of foods. This is my desire, birth after birth. May I live with those devotees who serve the lotus feet of these Six Goswamis. Janame Janame Hoy E Abhilas. That's his desire. And finally, H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koiladas. Koilabhas. When these Six Goswamis lived in Braja, that's Vrindavan, they revealed the lost holy places and explained the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So it's a very simple song in Bengali and glorifying the Six Goswamis along with the holy names of Krishna.
You sounded like Bengali too.
Huh?
Accent is
No. I could ask you to say it, and then you'd be embarrassed. Instead, you're embarrassing me.
you have a good accent.
Oh, yeah, right.
it's written there, they have good B's.
But his pronunciation is like Bengali.
Doing this every day, what do you want?
Just like you paint every day. I mean, come on. Oh, Pushkar, you're such a good painter. Well, I'm doing it every day. Come on. Okay, so let's see. It's 8:00. We'll have some time for discussion, and then I'm sure we're going to be asked to have RT for the deities that we had this nice bathing, and the offering is going on right now. And so some discussion. Go ahead.
I didn't hear about Ram Vishwas, the big story with Raghunath. I didn't hear that.
I didn't say. You want to say?
No, I mean, there was a big discussion in Chaitanya Bhagavat, I remember I read.
Go ahead. You say, because I'm not familiar.
Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, when he was going from Benares to Jagannath Puri on foot. So one great devotee of Ram Bhakta named Ram Das Biswas, who accompanied with him, he had all the symptom of a advanced devotee. But when he finally came to Jagannath Puri and he paid obeisances, as you narrated, Mahaprabhu's meeting with
Yeah.
But then Ramdas Vishwas was next to him. And then he introduced himself that this is Ramdas Vishwas. Mahaprabhu turned back and went inside Gambhira. And he was little surprised because he see their
Affectionate.
affection. But with the guest who was singing almost 24 hours a day on Ram Katha, you talk about Ram Lila, he has so much love, you cry for Lord Ram. So next day, he tried to introduce again, and Mahaprabhu turned back and went another way. And then he proposed to Ramananda Roy and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. I'm not sure what am I doing something wrong. This is a great devotee of Lord Ram, and he wants to come and meet him, so I'm trying to introduce. So then they approach Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that could you please give your darshan? He said, if you pressure me like this, you all stay with him, I leave. Then they thought it's a serious case. Yeah. So that time they took a private interview with him.
With whom?
With Ramdas Biswas. And then they found out that his ultimate goal was to merge into Lord Chaitanya's body. But he had all the symptom of pure devotee, looks like.
Looks like external.
Except inner conception was completely wrong.
The funny thing in that story is, in those days, no one could tell who was pure and who wasn't. So every time I read that, I crack up because, like, now we know it's been dating. This is what science is.
It's okay. We heard. He's enthusiastic young man. He wants to do his service. I'm not familiar with that pastime. I mean, by your saying it, no, some bells were ringing, but I'm not accustomed to hearing and meditating. But I do remember it now. But I thank you for narrating it.
He was carrying his luggage, too.
Yes.
All the time.
Humble service of Raghunath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Maharaj, my question could come.
1,500 miles or something.
How is that Mahabhagavat, eternal associate, could not recognize the Mayavad?
Oh, Krishna.
I probably said it right there. In those days, nobody knew. Maybe because they were so pure, they saw everyone as pure devotee. That's the only
Or maybe by Super Soul's arrangement, he was covered so he couldn't see. Go ahead. Raghunath was unable to see because Krishna didn't allow him to see.
He never saw.
Let's hear it. What's your question?
No, it's not a question. I just want to comment that thank you so much for explaining our guests like so basic what is Krishna all the way to Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Well, they didn't get up and leave. That's one good sign.
The way I met them is like pure magical, like, I just bumped into them in the parking lot and they Googled Temple of Universe, and they came to Temple of Universe and came to our temple, and they're in the parking lot and asked me what are good places here. Then I took them inside the temple and explained these are the deities, and gave Chant and Be Happy and a couple of other books, and said, hey, what's going on today evening? And I said, there is one Maharaj, he is practicing for 50 years, it's once in a lifetime opportunity. Somehow I convinced, and
I'm not going to die that soon. That's my plan, anyways.
Funny story. I met Ari Carter in London.
You met Ari Carter in London?
I read the 2 books you gave me.
Do you remember? You have an unforgettable face.
We had lunch together in the gym.
Oh, this summer.
Where?
In London.
So one is from Trinidad Tobago, one is from...
Uh-huh.
Like, what are the odds?
So for last 4 days, I'm trying to come, and my wife is about to 9 months now, and she says you want to leave and go. And today I said, I invited 3 guests, I have to go tonight. So finally I made it because of them. Thank you.
How much providential arrangements are going on here this evening? Who knows?
And this class is from first grade to PhD combined together, lumped in one class. Thank you.
Okay, way in the back, you're enthusiastic hand. You have a loud voice, right? Go ahead. Do your best.
Maharaj, thank you so much for teaching us about the life story of the Six Goswami. It was fascinating, and it was wonderful to know about them. My question is, are they brahmachari for a lifetime at that time?
Well, certainly Raghunath Das, Gopal Bhatta, Raghunath Bhatta, Rupa and Sanatan, were they married? No, they weren't married. Huh? Yes, Raghunath Das was married. That's right. Raghunath Das was married. And he said shalom. Huh?
You just threw it over the sun, but it was in the same bed with his wife.
Is there any children too?
So what else you want to know?
Is there any children who ever got married?
None. Okay?
Yes, I do want to reiterate what Prasanna Prabhu said. Really appreciate that you took into consideration the new people in that from the first day, and you took the time to really explain so relevantly. It was really easy, really nice. A good example for all of us.
One of the rules of public speaking, this isn't exactly public, but speaking, is know your audience. It's it's first thing I have to find out, are there new people? How new are the new people? And then, calibrate accordingly. Mm-hmm. Now, there was we went in the fast lane for a while, and I don't know what the newest of the new people got from the PhD standard thing, but I have to do that because that's the topic.
Mm-hmm. You did it really.
It's just a rule of public speaking. It's a rule of speaking.
Appreciate it. Can I say one thing that really struck me was when you said that Lord Chaitanya went to Prakashananda Saraswati and his followers, and they were worshiping the effulgence, the Brahman. And Lord Chaitanya displayed the very Brahman that they're worshiping. It didn't occur to me until now when you said it that way. That is really, really wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. He knew what they wanted, and he reciprocated with what they wanted. And then he withdrew it, and they were like, wow. And then they could hear him better than thinking he's a sentimentalist that's singing and dancing with worldly people and carrying on in a way that, like, he's a really loser sannyasi, breaking all the rules of us guys. Because he was from the same, he's from a same kind of sannyas line that they're from. And he's doing this, which we don't, it's forbidden for us. What's wrong with this guy? Shh. We're breaking all the rules for Krishna. Something else? I think we should end with this, yes?
Maharaj, I have several questions.
Yeah, you got the...
Okay. The first one, it really touched my heart, like when you mentioned about he knew only that everyone was engaged in Krishna's service. I see that when doing services and all, I see people have different opinion about how to do that service.
Sure. We're people. We're human. But even there's different opinions about how to, they're serving. They're serving and they're serving. And you see that, and it makes it a little bit easier to not be disturbed by differences. Oneness in diversity.
Yeah. Sometimes it looks like they're like...
Too much diversity.
Totally something different they're doing might be not appropriate. And
That may also happen. But then, we're not on the platform of Raghunath Bhatta. Let me just respond to what you're commenting. There's a stage called the Uttama Bhagavat stage, that sadhakas, that level that we are, we're not in that topmost. Uttama means topmost. The Uttama Bhagavat, that's how they see. They see how Raghunath Das sees. Everyone's engaged. Even, bad people and whatever, this planet, everything, everyone's engaged in Krishna's service in their capacity. They're covered this way or covered that way, and they're engaged in service. And that's the focus. You can still see diversity, but you see the unity within the diversity. And that's in this topmost stage. So we're enjoined to make a distinction. We're not in that stage. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
So let's go to have Arti, but it's a little small room and they're not going to all fit in there. But you can watch on the TV. Okay? Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaur Premanandi Haribol.
We love you.
What you said this morning was come back, and I asked you how many.
Krishna Krishna Buddha Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Gaura Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Nitai Gaura Nataraj Nitai Gaura Nataraj Nitai Gaura Nataraj Nitai Gaura Nataraj Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol.